A lot came out of that today, and as I had said previously to Chairman Jordan, this was really an opportunity for people to see who's being picked up. And the administration, the Trump administration, is doing this daily now. And I made note, a lot of sex crime, a lot of pedophilia that they're finding. And, you know, we've been reporting for years now, all through the ex-President Biden's presidency, not just about the children who were lost, which is horrific, 300,000 of them, and even former DHS Secretary Mayorkas admitted they couldn't find all those kids. I don't know how hard they were looking. But the bigger problem overall was the sex trafficking of children and young women across the border. And you can see a lot of what was going on in terms of sex crimes now as they hold up these pictures. Now, some may argue, well, they're handpicking those. Then I would ask, why are there so many? Because there are a lot. And what are we really dealing with in this country if we don't go after those people? The left says they are concerned about children. We all, as a nation, should have been more concerned when 300,000 were missing in this country. If there's a chance to find those kids, if there's a chance to reunite them with freedom and with care. And that one little one that Commander Bovino talked about, I mean, this will stick with all of us. Can you imagine a child, non-surgical wounds, they suspect some kind of drug in his system. Maybe he was a mule and there were drugs inside, but they couldn't wake him up and they had to do a sternum rub to wake him up. A little one needed then to be resuscitated and then stitched up professionally to save him. What in the world are we doing if we don't protect our kids? And I mean our kids, no matter where they come from. Because they're little, they didn't choose it. A whole lot to get to, and the Trump administration laying it out. We just heard more about all of that from Commander Bovino and ICE Assistant Director Charles. The DOJ is releasing those mugshots now of 3 of the anti-ICE rioters who stormed a Minnesota church in St. Paul, disrupted, terrorized services last Sunday. Well, now those 3 suspects are facing federal charges. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey is finally speaking out about the church protest, but only to side with the rioters. Watch this part.
I want to comment on Nikema Levy-Armstrong's arrest. It's a gross abuse of power, and she should immediately be released.
Today in Minnesota, far-left activists are calling for a day of protests and boycotts. I thought they were already doing that. Now they want publicity, apparently. And we've been showing you this photo of that 5-year-old little boy involved in an ICE operation making the rounds across the country. The legacy media are seizing and using it as an opportunity to attack ICE agents.
This is not about deporting people. It's about demeaning people. It's about desensitizing people.
It doesn't really signal we want to work with you if you're at the 600-man department in Minneapolis and they bring in 3,000 masked thugs.
So you saw that being talked about today at the news conference that wrapped up just a couple of minutes ago. The commander of Border Patrol, Greg Bovino, and the ICE Assistant Director, Marcos Charles, were both saying that that child would have needed some sort of support. And the story about the dad walking hand in hand to or from school with that child was not true. I mean, getting to the facts is going to be critical because those who are going to posture the politics at this moment from the left, you're going to have to counter that with the facts. And that's what you're starting to see more and more of with proof, with receipts, with those mugshots and more. Garrett Tenney is on the ground in Minneapolis. Garrett.
Yeah, and Harris, those pictures of that 5-year-old boy standing in the cold wearing a Spider-Man backpack and a hat went viral after school leaders and then Democratic officials claimed that ICE was detaining that child and then using him as bait to try to lure the boy's family outside so they could arrest the family. There's been a ton of outrage over those claims, despite DHS saying they are completely false. You just heard that this past hour from Greg Bovino as well as ICE. Here is Vice President J.D. Vance with the administration's account of what happened.
That the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien, and then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death?
And then on the investigation into that protest at a Twin Cities church this last weekend, federal prosecutors have charged 3 of the protest's organizers, and officials say they are hoping to add to that list. But Fox News has learned a federal magistrate judge rejected multiple arrest warrants DOJ requested for other individuals from the protest, including former CNN anchor Don Lemon. Activist groups and Democratic officials are slamming these cases as purely political prosecutions, though. Today, they are calling for a statewide shutdown so that as many people as possible can get out in the streets today to protest ICE.
It is the day of truth and freedom across the state, where we don't shop, we don't go to work, and we don't go to school, but instead we come together in protest and community, dedicated to one another, leaning in with one another.
Yeah, organizers are planning for a massive rally this afternoon downtown, followed by a march in these freezing temperatures. And yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance said people are welcome to protest all they want over the administration's immigration policies, but they have to stay peaceful or they will face consequences. Harris?
Yeah, they actually have to protest and not riot. Matt, thank you very much. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, agents in Illinois have arrested more than 800 illegal aliens in the course of Operation Midway Blitz there. Many of them are repeat offenders with outstanding warrants, so they've been in the system. The operation's been centered in and around Chicago since early last September, despite fierce state and local resistance. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons with this shortly after that launch.
ICE is a federal law enforcement agency, and we're out there enforcing federal law. I really wish the governor would look at the heinous crimes that these criminal aliens are committing in his state, that his sanctuary policies are releasing these violent criminal aliens to kill Americans, right, that cause harm in our neighborhoods. Operation Midway Blitz, we're doing that in honor of Katie Abraham. She was a young lady, prime of her life, that was killed in a DUI crash by a criminal illegal alien that shouldn't have been in this country.
Let's focus on Katie Abraham. She was killed just over a year ago. Now her father is demanding that Illinois leaders acknowledge Katie's death and change course on their failed sanctuary policies. Joe Abraham is her father, and he joins me now. God bless you. Thank you for being in focus. A lot happening today. Talk to me about a year ago and what you've been through.
Yeah, we lost Katie a year ago on the 19th, January 19th. It's been the most difficult year of our lives. It's been brutal. The person that killed Katie, Julio Cucabol, who was using an alias, who couldn't read or write English or Spanish. He was using a Kai Chi language, barreled into them at 80 miles an hour. Katie died on the scene. He fled the scene. So you hear a lot of this like, oh, you're separating families and you're disappearing people. Well, I was separated. Katie's been disappeared. Why is there no consideration on that for Katie? When am I going to get a phone call to say, let's go to Springfield and protest Governor Pritzker's radical policies? He nullifies federal law. He tells Congress that immigration's their purview. He nullifies it, basically comes up with his own immigration plan, which is nothing. Clearly, it was nothing. He allows hundreds of thousands in. Katie, and more than, Katie wasn't the only victim, and he's got nothing but silence for us. Unfortunately, Renee Good in Minnesota, 2 seconds in, he's in front of the mic. I don't understand the one-sided compassion. Apparently, Katie does not qualify for any compassion from our governor, J.B. Pritzker.
Joe, as you look at what's happening in the streets in different cities around the country, ICE agents being ambushed and attacked, what is your response to all of it?
They do not have the moral high ground. It's very disappointing to watch so-called protesters. So if from their perspective, let's take it from their perspective, they say, oh, ICE is terrorizing our communities. So what do they do in response? terrorize communities. I don't understand. You're going to churches, you're in the streets, you're bothering people, terrorizing people, living their lives, and you say you're the moral high ground, folks? You lost that. You're not. You are just as bad as what you're so-called fighting for. Now, I met hundreds of ICE agents and support staff, the most diverse, professional, dedicated, cooperative, competent people I've ever seen. The left always says DEI, we need diversity. I've never seen a more diverse organization than these guys. They should be championed. They should be used as an example of what a DEI operation should look like instead of being torn down like this. They're federal agents trying to enforce federal law. That's all they're doing. And the states, only a few states look like this, Minnesota and Illinois, specific reasons why it looks like this. Their leaders want the chaos in the streets. They need the chaos in the streets. They have to have something to deflect on the complete and utter mismanagement of their states. The only people think that those states are running well are the actual people running the states. They're the only ones that think the states are running well.
Well, Joe Abraham, if anybody thinks that you and your family are not up to speed on everything that's going on, you are glued because you have given up so much. You deserve to have a big voice in all of this. God bless you. And I know you miss Katie.
Every day.
Pray with
I would give everything for another hour for Katie. Everything I have and my life for one more hour with Katie. And they don't care. Nobody cares.
We do. We do care. People are lost. But we do care. God bless you, Joe, and your family.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.